Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. If you cannot, please let me know in the chat. I have a couple screens set up, so I think we'll be good. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, perfect. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Ali Gonzalez. I'm the services manager here at Spark Fun. I'll bring up my lower third over here so everybody can see. And I'll be hosting the stream today. The workshop is by our wonderful partners, Edge Impulse and Advantech and NVIDIA, and they'll be showing you how to set up a Factory 5.0 environment using Edge Impulse's software, as well as Advantech's hardware in partnership with NVIDIA. So without further ado, let me add Charlie and Louie onto here, and I'll read out their bios for us all. Let's see. There we go. Charlie, Louie, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Sweet. So thank you for joining us. This is a really exciting workshop. I've been waiting a few weeks to hear the workshop, and I want to follow along, but I didn't have time to set up my Jetson beforehand, which that is a reminder to everybody. If you have not yet set up your NVIDIA Jetson, now is the time to do it. There'll be about a few minutes until the meat of the workshop starts, and I'll be posting that link to set up the Jetson Nano on the chat, on the the YouTube live stream chat. So it's there now. And so without further ado, let's start. So here we have Louis Moreau. I hope I'm not butchering your name. He's the user success engineer at Edge Impulse. He started his career developing a low power and GPS-based IoT solution to protect rhinos in an African conservancy, which is so cool. I want to talk to you more about that later, Louis. He is now working at Edge Impulse as a user success engineer. He has a strong interest in IoT, DIY, hybrid mobile development, cloud web apps, entrepreneurship, and startups. So what better place to be than Edge Impulse for all of that? Charlie with us. Charlie Wu is a product manager at Advantech. He started his career at Advantech as an application engineer and shifted focus to product management with about 20 plus years of managing computer hardware solutions. So Charlie knows his stuff. His latest focus is on IoT, edge, AI-infused edge systems for IoT implementation, and aims to help enhance intelligence of systems and networks in various applications, which I'm sure Charlie will give us a rundown of that shortly. So without further ado, Charlie, I believe you have a presentation for us, correct? Would you like me to share that?
Forgot my I'm on mute. Can everybody hear me okay?
No? Yep.
Including the background noise?
There's no background noise.
Okay, so with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. 1 second. Okay, can you see the screen okay?
Yep.
All right. So good morning, everyone. My name is Charlie, and as Ali has already introduced, I'm the product manager with In today's presentation, I'm just going to quickly bring up the latest development within Advantech on the Edge AI system, R020 compact AI system based on the NVIDIA Jetson platform. Advantech on the Edge AI system. I'm sorry?
Sorry, that was just feedback. I'll take my
audio
off.
No worries. Quickly, just quickly going over who who and what Advantech is. We are a IPC company that established back in 1983 by our founder and CEO Casey Liu, and in various different sectors, military, medical, industrial automation, so on and so forth. We are branching out in several different vertical markets. The new industrial 4.0 innovation. We have 2,000 plus standard products, both spanning from board level solution as well as system level solution. And also we have a lot of capability in the custom design solution. We support many of the brand and our solution in there. So we're kind of like a brand behind the brand. As of the general 2020 revenue, we're at 1.73 billion and continue to grow. For North America, where the business I'm serving in, we have a very good record, continue to grow in double digit year that I work for Advantech, which is the year 2000. We have working with several eco partners, including some of the brand that you recognize here, especially now NVIDIA. Then we also have, whoops, sorry, I think I hit the wrong button. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, and of course we are continue to grow, and we have worldwide presence both in different continents. We have our headquarters in Taiwan, manufacturing facility in Kunsan, China. Okay, so now let's jump really quick into the NVIDIA Air 020 AI box. This is the latest development. It's based on the NVIDIA NX, just an NX solution. So we offer scalable performance, which we have three different versions, including the Nano, the TX2NX, and also Xavier NX. And we also work with the providing our Jetpacks SDK and some of the development. The unit itself is actually very small, and I think I have a picture just to. I'm just going to can stop the presentation for a second. Quickly share with you the picture that I have. Here we go, and the size of the unit, as you can see right here, is just a can of Coke. So that kind of gave you a perspective of how big that unit actually is. Okay, going back into the presentation. Some of the feature of the system design, including dual Ethernet, two USB ports supporting HDMI port. Um, it does have a digital I/O and COM port for industrial application, and supports wide voltage power input from 12 to 24 volt. They also have a Type C to support the which can support speed up to 10 gigabit per second. So in this case, it's also got some of the other feature, including the TPM 2.0 for security, and also a internally accessible M.2 storage that allows you to increase the overall size, storage size of the system. Here we have three different versions available. We have the AIR020N that is based on the Jetson Nano. We have on the right hand side the Jetson TX2NX, and also in the middle the Jetson Xavier. Three different model for different type of the AI development performance needed, and it kind of show you the different performance on like how many frames per second and how many teraflops that it can support. And additional benchmark information for your reference based on Inception V4, Tiny YOLO V3, ResNet 50, and also SSD MobileNet V1. Kind of again show you the different performance of the different model, and you can see high performance. You definitely want to go with a Xavier NX. So with all the different IOs available, you can support up to 6 different cameras through both VG. I'm sorry, not VG. The Ethernet port, the USB port, and also the OTG port. It has the capability to accept either wireless module or the M.2 storage, as well as additional I/O to support some of the industrial communication protocols such as CAN to serial port. And it can support also wide temperature -10 degrees to +55 degrees in working environment. Okay. Now, working with NVIDIA, we also have the system fully built. So with 128 gigabytes of the storage and also 16 gigabytes of eMMC. It supports the Ubuntu 18.0 for Linux, as well as coming with the Advantech Edge AI suite for quick AI development that provides both the development kit and some of the Advantech system management software. Okay. And in the, just quickly going into the Edge AI suite is a solution that we provided. So it's not just the simple development kit that comes from the NVIDIA Jetpack. We also work with our internal team to develop the software system management tool that allows you to remote monitor, remote control some of the I/Os on the system, and you will be able to use that to control all the other hardware that's connected to the system, including cameras or other hardwares. So in this case, you can use that for various type of application, such as target advertising, people counting, fitness coaches, to show you some of the example. In which case, once with the Air 020, you are able to start development as soon as you receive the unit. It has all the necessary hardware and software and also operating system included. You can start doing your AI development by connecting the necessary, going through the AI model to develop the software that you want, and then start the inference implementation. So some of the target market that we are targeting, mostly what we have already been engaged with, including manufacturing, smart city, pandemic prevention, and also medical imaging. Be the those are the latest development that we have. And under manufacturing, for the most part, we're dealing with factory automation, robotics. Smart city will be retail, traffic monitoring, surveillance, and control, those type of application. And here is some of the ordering information for your reference, and also the comparison between different model. You can see that the Nano being the lowest performance, it will have some I/O difference compared to the highest performance Jason Xavier NX solution, particularly on the part where is how many Ethernet ports it supports, and also how many COM port it actually does support, as well as the memory that's already built into the system. On the flash and also the storage is pretty much the same. Okay, so now we are working on getting some of the Air 020 AI box for you to try out. So we will be working on announcing the evaluation as well as a special discount. The current facing schedule we're looking at is probably in January of 2022, so it will be coming out pretty soon. And in this case, if you want to follow Advantech development, working with Edge Impulse, you want to scan the barcode to get to know more about the Air 20 or other GSM products from Advantech. Please feel free to check in with us, and we will be more than happy to help. And with that, I'm stopping my screen sharing and then returning the control.
Great, thank you, Charlie. So we have one question from the chat. Gene the Brave asks, just been curious, what would be the MSRP for the Air 020M?
Okay, so the MSRP for the Air 020N is actually going to be relatively less expensive. Hold on a second. Let me check with the file that I have, and I can get back to you immediately. One sec. We believe it's going to be about $600.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't think there's any other questions in the chat. But thank you for the presentation. I want to take advantage of that 30-day sample, play with it myself. Although I do
All
have a
right.
Jetson over here, but I can't exactly trust this to be put outside. I guess I would still have to put yours in a case. So with that, we'll. Oh, okay. Louis has one. Why didn't I get
Who
one?
Yeah, I do
has
have
one?
one.
What is
It's
this?
really great.
This is some
I love the
favoritism
tiny
here.
form factor.
I want to take it apart.
Well,
Okay, so
Ali, let me know. Let me know your address. I will send. I will work with our headquarters and play with it. That's not a problem.
oh, perfect. There we go. Making things happen. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Okay, so with that, Louis, you have a wonderful workshop to show us. I'm really excited to see it. But before you start, just in case anybody hasn't done this yet, please go to the GitHub link, which I'm posting again in the chat, and follow the instructions. I don't think it takes 2 minutes to install everything that you need, but maybe towards the end of the workshop you'll have it running. So with that, I'll leave it to you, Louis. Let me.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll share my screen again. I'm keeping a small camera on the bottom right corner. So my name is Louis. The presentation will be available after. I will just add the link to the GitHub repo that Ali is just sharing. So Edge Impulse. Edge Impulse is about making things smarter. First of all, who I am. So Ali, you already presented me. But my name is Louis Moreau, and I started my career connecting rhinos when I was working at Sigfox. I actually developed tiny GPS tracker that was put directly into the rhino's horn. That was an awesome project. Straight after that, I worked on another project on how to detect earthquakes in Mexico, working along with some students in California. This project unfortunately did not succeed, but I learned a lot. After that, I did some technical marketing management, which is a European cloud provider, and now I'm a user success engineer with Edge Impulse. So I've got three main roles. One is to help our sales guys, just to help them technically when they are on different calls. Then I do a lot of support to our key customers. DevRel engineer, meaning giving workshop, writing tech content, etc. A few things on machine learning. What is it? Usually, when we think of machine learning, we think of data centers full of GPUs, TPUs, etc. But in our case, it's not really the case. We're still talking about algorithms. The only difference is between classical programming and machine learning. In classical programming, you define the rule and you give the data, and let's say the algorithm gives you the answers. Here we enter in another paradigm. Here we provide the data and the answer, and the machine learning algorithm provide the rules. Let me give you a brief example on how it can be done. So, for example, if you want to detect if water is boiling or not, you can have a temperature sensor, and you can define in your algorithm. So if the temperature is above 100 degrees Celsius, then the water is boiling. If not, it's not. So here I've got a temperature sensor. Give me 102 degrees Celsius. So is the water boiling? Yes. And the observed answer is yes as well. Then if I have 98 degrees Celsius, is the water is boiling? Then no, it's not boiling, and we don't observe that the water is boiling. If you climb a mountain and you go up in altitude, let's say the temperature sensor detects 98 degrees. So the algorithm will say, no, the water is not boiling. But what you observe is, yes, the water is boiling. So you add new parameters. Basically, what it is, what you provide to your machine learning algorithm is the data and the label. And then the algorithm will try to detect and to create the math, the ML model. So basically, the machine will try many different things and will end up by giving you, let's say, the perfect equation. But what really happens is that computers are really good at math. Here, the example is pretty simple. But then, if you have plenty of data, let's say an example with an images, you might have like thousands of raw features, and then you need to train that on different data and many data, etc. So you need to train again, and what you will do is to push some new data to the cloud, train again, and then deploy back to the device, and your model will be better as the time flies. So yeah, basically that's it. So we are moving from a rule-based engineering to a data-driven engineering. So basically, that that for the this is Jan, our CTO, and Zach, our CEO. They are great guys, and they are the one who funded the company. So yeah, I was just saying that we are going from a rule-based engineering work to a data-driven engineering, and this is so we developed a platform that can ease the process of collecting data, creating impulses, which is a mix of digital signal processing and machine learning blocks, is the way of testing, is the way of deploying. This is all Edge Impulse is about, and you will see during the workshop how do we do that. And it can be applied to many different use cases, from recognizing sounds, classifying images, analyzing some biomedical information, detecting abnormal vibration, or doing some object detection, which we are going to do in this workshop. As Advantech, we are focusing mainly on three main, let's say, industries. One is predictive maintenance, the other is asset tracking and monitoring, and the last one is human interface. In human interfaces, I would say it's even larger than human. Let's say it can be applied to the living. We have a great project called Elephant Edge, where we actually detect movements and sounds of elephants. So yeah, it's basically the living. Few numbers out of Edge Impulse, and then we'll go right into the workshop. So we have more than 10,000 enterprises, a huge community of developers, more than 25,000, and they are really present and active on our forum.edgeimpulse.com. Some of you already asked a few questions on the forum. This is great. We try to be as responsive as possible. We have more than 50,000 projects that use Edge Impulse and a lot of data samples and data sets. During this workshop, we won't go into the details of how do you build your model, etc. It will be mostly an overview of how to use the platform, an end-to-end tutorial. But if you want to learn more, we have this great guy called Sean Heimel, and he developed two Coursera courses. Those are free. You can pay if you want to have the badge, but you can get access for free. And to embedded machine learning, it's great. I actually took the course before joining Edge Impulse. It's really well done, and Sean is he's a great guy. He's fun, and he explains really well. And the
Sean is
second course
awesome.
that was released not long time ago, it's a computer vision with embedded machine learning. So you can learn more that we are going to see today during this workshop. So to start the workshop, so you can click directly on this link. So github.com/edgeimpulse/workshop-advantech-jetson nano, or you can directly flash this QR code if you want. Let me go to the page. I just give you a few seconds if you. I can take a few questions.
The
While
link is also
joining.
in the YouTube live stream chat for anybody
Awesome.
watching that hasn't checked the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Ali. Do I have any question, Ali?
No, there's no questions. People just saying that unpacked the image is 13 plus gigs. So I hope they followed the email beforehand. Yeah, but
We'll
besides
go
that, I
through
think we're good to go.
we'll go through how to do it. Although it can take up to an hour depending on your internet speed. Well, first you need to download the OS, etc. But I will go through. So once you arrive on the tutorial link, here it's a bit the context of what we are going to do. So Advantech has provided me two video datasets. Both are from real use case factory. And so the first one is a camera just filming a production line. And during this use case, we are going to see if there on the production line. So we will try to detect just some bounding box out of it. And if we don't detect anything, alert. And we'll do that using object detection. The second use case is how to make sure your workers work in a safe environment. So we will be detecting whether a hat and a vest. We can detect all the different things. I also wrote a blog post some time ago on how to detect if a worker has, I think I've got it here, has a hard hat on his head. The blog post is just at the bottom of the tutorial. This is a fun project, and it's something that you can easily do as well with machine learning. So yeah, this is to avoid like a human interaction and just provide information over time without the need of someone being monitoring all the production line all the time. So what we are going to use for this workshop, Edge Impulse Studio, you can create an account directly, just click on the link. You will need Edge Impulse CLI. It's optional, but it's convenient just to send away, just to push the data that you pre-prepared on your Jetson Nano. You need to use Balena Etcher to flash the SD card. If you're familiar with something else to flash an OS on the SD card, feel free to use that. And we are going to use Python 3, which is by default installed on the Jetson Nano. So today I will show you how to do that. This one is not the 2 gigabytes. It's actually just over there. I can show you. I'll show it to you. Note that what we are going to do is fully compatible. So let me just grab the terminal and I will share you my setup screen copy here. So you should be able to see.
1 second, Louis. We had a comment saying that the dataset folder within the GitHub is empty, and I'm looking at
Yeah,
it
you
now,
need
and it
to.
does appear empty.
Yeah. So I cannot do that. Let me just. Okay.
You have to just download it separately?
Yeah, I will show you.
I see. Yeah, there's a wget. Here, I'll paste. Yeah. Well, I guess it won't let me paste the link.
So let me try to do that. It actually appears that I cannot. Well, I cannot put it in horizontal mode. So here is the Jetson Nano. That's the 2 gigabyte edition. So here I've got some extra cable because I plugged it to my laptop. Cable, but we won't need that. Here is just the connection cable that goes to my laptop, so I can communicate with it. This is how I power it, and this is the Ethernet cable to make sure it's connected to the internet. But yeah, basically it's the only 3 cables that you will need. Yeah, and that's it. So let me just stop that for a second. Terminate, and I will go back to the explanation. So you will need an SD card. NVIDIA recommend at least 32 gigabytes. Haven't tried with less. I actually have a 32 gigabytes plugged to my Jetson Nano. You will need an Ethernet cable, and eventually, if you have an external camera, but it's completely optional because we will use the video feed just to classify the data. So how you get started, you have a link directly to Edge Impulse documentation. Let me open that here. So first thing you need to do, seems that I cannot load the image. Yeah. Download the OS. So I guess you all need to download the 2 gigabytes developer kit edition. Let me click on that. You need to follow the instruction whether you want to download that for Windows, for macOS. So as I said before, I think it's even written in here. Yeah, it takes about 6 gigs. So depending on your internet connection, it can take some time. Then once you have downloaded it, you can open Balena Etcher. Balena Etcher. Check where it is. It's here. You just need to select the ISO file that you just downloaded, select the target, and flash it. It can take again about 10 to 15 minutes to do that. So those are for the workshop. If you haven't had time to do that, you will be able to go back on the play, and I will leave these instructions on the GitHub account, on the GitHub repo, so you'll be able to go back to the instruction after. So that was just the animation I got from NVIDIA's website, which is basically this one. Okay, don't have it here. I think they have a small instructions on how to do that. So I'm using the headless mode for the workshop. And then once you set up everything, you will need to open just to connect from your computer to the Jetson Nano. So let's do that together. Let me zoom. Let me know if I need to zoom more. We'll try as large as possible. And let me just copy that on my side. That should be this one. Jetson login. So Luis Omoro, it's the name I gave it. I gave my device and my password. Here, that's good. Let me check.
Text size looks good. If only we could have seen your password there.
So you need to install Edge Impulse CLI. It's also on the instructions here. It's pretty straightforward. I think we have one user who had an issue doing that. So Jan and I fixed the script, and it should work for everyone now. So you just need to wget that, and it will take another few minutes. There are some compilation steps, so it can probably take another 5 to 10 minutes, depending on, here it's probably not the internet connection, but mostly the resources of the Jetson Nano. So as far as I remember, it took about 7 minutes. And once you did that, your data set. So let me go back in here. So CD workshop. So I already have it here. Workshop Advantech Jetson Nano. Let me clone that again, maybe. CD workspace, let's say I'll make say V2, so that I will have something fresh. And you can start by cloning this repository. So git clone repo. And if you have a look at the structure, so you have the README, it's the instruction we are seeing, all the assets where it contains a screenshot, etc. And I created one repository for you, which is called code samples, where you have three main code samples. One is to extract frame from a video. We are going to use this one. This one, we won't use that, but it's really useful if you have a long video and you want to split it into shorter video. For example, if you know that you have one event that is happening at between, let's say, 2 and 5 minutes. So you can split the video easily using this script to then extract the frames. And the very last part is the inference. So we will see how to classify either just one frame, classify the video, and we just noticed as well an issue. So we have a patch here. Discovered the issue yesterday. And the data set where you can download this, and we are going to do that just right now. So I'm still receiving the objects. In the meantime, maybe Ali, do you have any questions? No? Okay.
My bad. I just realized I was muted. Can you hear me now? I'm guessing that's a yes.
So is there any question for me?
Yes, there is one question. Alexander Zubin asks, what ML algorithms are possible with Edge Impulse? Is it only neural networks?
So we have, let's say, three different types of algorithms. Yeah, they are mostly neural network. First one is anomaly detection. We are using k-means techniques for that. The second is classifications. So we are using basic neural networks. And you can actually, and the last one is object detection, which, well, we have image classification and object detection. We both are using transfer learning, but they are in the category of neural networks. And after that, you can create your own. Let's say you can write your own Keras code. So if you are familiar with TensorFlow, etc., you can switch to the expert mode and write your own code. We have plenty of examples on our documentation website. Feel free to have a look. For this workshop, we are going to use the transfer learning because we are using object detection. So what we are going to do basically is to remove the last layers and just retrain the very last layers with your own data. So the model has been pre-trained with a huge quantity of data, and we are just retraining the last layers with your data. But I will explain that later when we come to the actual training part. So it seems kind of long. Maybe I will quit that and I will go back to the version I downloaded before. So it's workspace.
We have a couple more questions if you'd like to take them now.
Oh yeah, sure, I can take them now.
Sure. So Nathaniel Hurley asks, what type of applications or solutions are developers finding that Edge Impulse's online environment is not able to solve right now? Ooh.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so essentially, what types of applications or solutions can an Edge Impulse not solve for at the moment?
So what can we not solve? For example, at the moment, we are not compatible with recurrent neural networks. There are several algorithms that we don't support, mostly because TensorFlow Lite does not support them at the moment. And we are using, on the back end, we are using TensorFlow Lite. Keep in mind that we are a platform mainly focusing on Edge ML. So if you, for example, want to do some let's say sentimental analysis could be done like using a video or a photo. For example, text predicts the next sentence, etc. And we are at the moment not a platform mainly focusing on that. We are mostly focusing on time series and images.
Got it. Okay. I think that answers that. Let me see if there's any other questions. So Mohammed Zubair asked, does Edge Impulse use cloud GPU for training? So I think you already answered that, saying that it's at the edge. Well, I guess the training isn't at the edge. The
Cloud
training is in
GPU
the cloud.
can be used for training. So when we train our neural network or our model, we spawn cloud jobs, and GPU's training are only available at the moment for enterprise offers. Note
Okay.
that we are free for every developers. You have few limits, such as the size of your data set and the time per job, which is limited to 20 minutes at the moment. But depending on the use case, you can ask me a message on the forum, and I can also increase this limit if you have a project that needs more compute time.
So
I hope
20
I answered
minutes.
the
Do you
question.
know what running on what type of hardware? This is just me asking for curiosity.
Oh, we are using cloud environments, so mostly AWS. We are also compatible with Azure. For example, with the Advantech, we are deploying some Azure stuff. But yeah, mostly it's some AWS pods, which are spawned on our Kubernetes clusters.
Got it. And are they running on CPUs or like ARM MCUs,
No,
like the big ones?
CPUs. I don't have the exact. So I'm not part of the infra team. I don't have the exact reference on the machines that we're spawning for each jobs for each pod. Um, but I could ask for you if you're interested.
Okay, I was just trying to continue the question. Um, Anyways, okay, we'll take one more question and then we'll keep going. What are the advantages of using edge impulse inference over, let's say, NVIDIA inference? Referring to CUDA or?
So I'm not familiar with the platform to build the inference on Edge Impulse. Edge Impulse is just the tool to build all your machine learning pipeline. Basically, we will facilitate the data ingestion, facilitate the way you train your model. But at the end, what you will get um, is a way to deploy your model. So we will see that after in the workshop. So here for Linux, we will just download a model. But you can download the C++ library if you want to integrate that into your microcontroller. And we have something called the Ion compiler, which basically take the TensorFlow Lite library and compiles it a step further down just to optimize the resources. Just note that my two co-founders, either Zach or Jan, our CTO, both used to work at ARM before, so they are really familiar with like a really constrained environment with microcontrollers that only have tiny resources, and we wanted to provide a way of so that those microcontrollers can actually use neural networks and infer from that. And as the time went, so we integrated Linux compatibility, etc., and we are going to add some more targets in the future.
That's awesome.
So maybe we are going to go back to our tutorial. So here I'm in the dataset. Just so if you want to get the dataset that mpic4, you can do a wget. I will show it to you what it does look like. Let me just dataset. So this is just a sample of what Advantech gave me. So it's a 3 minutes video, just filming a production line. That's pretty straightforward. And what we're going to detect if at some point we have something on the production line or not. I think if I move a bit more to maybe go back. So here, for example, here you don't have anything, and what we want to provide is to provide an alert if nothing is happening on the production line. This is the first use case that where I provide the data set. It's pretty simple. So back on my Jetson Nano, now I do have the data set. I will go back to the code samples and extract frames. So now what I want to do is to extract a frame. So I created this Python script just to extract a frame every second of this video. So if I just check that, extract frame. So I will run this script. And it will read each frames. Why is that? Huh. Okay. Did not have that before. Let me chuk. Might need to do that. Okay, I'm sharing. So I will share with you in the chat, Ali, so you can just add the fix. So you just need to run this line to fix it.
Okay.
So what the script does here, so you can have a look at it. So I'm using OpenCV to do that. It just gets the dataset as an input. I'm just checking if it has frames, and every frame rate will just read, so get the frame and then save it to my output here, to my output folder. So here I'm back on it. So the video is 3 minutes, so you will have something like 180 frames. I'll let you do that, and then you will be able to just take all those frames and push that to an Edge Impulse project. And then I will show you how to label that.
I'm always amazed at how simple the Edge Impulse system works. I mean, so long as you can run the commands, I mean, at least from a user standpoint, it's pretty simple to get initially running.
I created this script. We are actually in the progress of having that directly into the studio, although it's not 100% available. I think I noted somewhere. I think it's here. Well, I think I noted somewhere. But we are about to have that as well in the studio, so you will be able to just upload your video dataset, and then we'll just extract the frames for you. It should be available soon, but it's not yet. So I just created a script for you so that it works better. So we are about to finish the frame export or extract. So now if we check the output folder, you have all your frames. So now you can create a project. So let me go to the studio. If you don't have an account on Edge Impulse Studio, just create one. It's pretty straightforward. I think I'll create a new one. Workshop Advantech Spark Fun. I call that V2 because I already have one. Okay. So, I had a wizard. I'm not sure if I can show it back to you. What I want to collect now are some images, and I will want to classify multiple objects in the image. So I will select the object detection, and then I can click on Let's get started. If you go to the data acquisition tab, at the moment we don't have any devices. We don't have any not devices, any data sample, but to do so, you just need to run one line of so Edge Impulse uploader. Let's say all, so they are JPEG, and I will just do that on a new project. So Louis demo. And workshop. Okay. So now it's uploading all my photos, all my frames directly to Edge Impulse Studio. And I've got one that failed to load. And just the loading here that is failing. I think I'm doing too much things for my internet at the moment. Let me wait a few seconds until it's done. So data acquisition. So here I've got all my frames that are here. You can just directly see that. And now that we have everything, we will need to label our data. So you can go to the labeling queue. Here we don't have anything, so just save labels. I think I've got a bad internet at the moment, so let me. Here we don't have anything. Don't have anything. Okay. So here I've got. So I will be able to draw easily bounding boxes, and let's say it's a working tray. I'm not sure if this means anything. So working tray. Now that here, for example, you have another one that I could label the same. Although if you can, I'm not sure if you can detect it properly, but we will apply a crop to the image. So there is no need of labeling something that is outside this square, let's say square display. But you can do that. So I won't do that for all the images because I still have 172. Note that I already have a project that have the label. Let me do that a bit more for a few other samples. Save. I want to get some. So here, work tray. Okay, save label. No. I think. Okay, nothing. Reload. I think put all the ones where I don't have anything. Well, it doesn't really matter because I just wanted to show you how you can easily label. I think I noted as well on the was it? Well, for example, if I want to detect as well if the person is present, so you can detect multiple things on the image. You could detect, for example, if the operator is here. So you could set here operator. Not that you need to do that for all your data as well. On this first project, to keep it simple, I just wanted to detect the working tray. But if you, for example, you want to detect that the operator is present, you have different options. First is to detect the operator, or you can, for example, also detect the chair. One thing to remind here is that we are in a constrained environment, which means that the model we are developing at the moment, we might not be able to generalize properly. For example, if you want to detect the attendance by detecting the chair, if you have another camera somewhere else and the chair is different, you will have trouble to generalize. There are some techniques to generalize. For example, find something that is available in every of the frames. Here, the working tray is supposed to pass by. For example, you could detect as well just the material. For example, here it's some hardware, but you could detect the hardware. For example, if the reddish or orange working tray at some point will change, but the hardware is still passing, or if it's become blue at some point, you might not be able to detect it on another production line. So here we are really focusing on something that is constrained and unique for this use case. Which is good on our case because we need very few data to have a model working. But yeah, again, it might not generalize, and you need much more data to have a more robust model. Let me just go back to the other project that I wanted to, so I called it bottleneck on a conveyor belt. And here I've got, I think it was something like 100, 100 items, which is not a lot, but I still have a good accuracy. If I want to edit the labels, I can do it from here and just remove one. So here it was not necessary to label those ones, but I still did it. So save labels. So once you labeled all your data sets, you can go to the Create Impulse tab. So as I said before, an impulse is a mix between digital signal processing and machine learning blocks. Here, as a pre-processing step, we'll just use an image one, but we have plenty of those if you're not dealing with images. For example, for audio, you can use some MFCC algorithms, MFE, etc. You can use some spectral analysis, some spectrogram if you want to have. This is good for sounds. For example, spectral analysis is mostly for, I use it a lot for accelerometer data, where I can add some low pass filter, high pass filter, depending on the type of data I do have. I can work on the Fourier transforms. Here I'm just using an images pre-processing step, which gives me few options. You can use some raw data if you just want to have the raw data. And if you're really good with pre-processing, you can create your own block. I wrote an article some time ago on how to create your own custom block. And the use case I took was especially images, where I used some canny filters to detect some edges on frames. And it can help you to achieve better accuracy while reducing the size of your model. So once you've chosen your pre-processing step, which is an important part because you will extract from here meaningful features to pass on to the neural network. And here you have, so I'm using object detection, but you can use image classification and different algorithms for non-images types. And I will have an output feature, which is an object, and I've got only one, let's say one class, which is the work tray here. So I can save my impulse and navigate to the next tab, which is the image block, where I do have some very few parameters that I can play with. It's either the image is RGB or grayscale. Just note, I haven't said it before, but here we are using a 320 by 320 pixels image. It's needed for the object detection that we are using. We are using a MobileNet SSD. Well, I think it's, well, I will show it after here. But I need this exact dimension. That's why we are cropping and we are getting rid of the outbounds the outliers of the image. So on the image, again, internet connection, you can select RGB because here there are some useful information in the in the colors. The working tray, it's like a reddish or orange color. Here you have the raw features and the pre-processed features, and it's those features that are going to be passed to the neural network. So once you can leave that by default, and you can select save parameters, and then you can generate the features. You just need to click on that. Well, I can do it again, actually. Haven't changed much. And it will take a few seconds, and it will just pre-process all the images that you have in your data set, and you will be able to see them here in the Feature Explorer. Here it's not really useful because you have only one class, but when you want to do, for example, some image classification, it's really good if you can let's say pre-detect some clusters of your data. And let's say you have one class that is more at the upper left corner, another one at the bottom right corner, etc. If you can distinguish some separate clusters in your data, this is good. It means like the neural network will likely to learn easily. Okay, so good here. I don't have much information, but again, on different projects, this can be really useful. And then you can move to the object detection. So here will be the training part. This is what we are going to focus on for the next few minutes. We are going to choose. So we have only one at the moment, which is the MobileNet V2 SSD. FPN Lite 320 by 320. It's a pre-trained model, and we are just getting rid of the very last layers to retrain the model with with your own data. So let me click on Start Training. We are about to release in a month or two a new object detection model that will be able to fit in microcontrollers. At the moment, those are only available for Linux machines, but in some time you will also be able to use object detection in microcontrollers. At least some Cortex M's, I guess. Yeah. So now we are entering the step of training your model. It can take some time, I guess. I hope it won't be too long. I've got only 100 images, so it should be fine. So what it does is just splitting my training set into it takes 80% for the training and another 20% for the validation set, so that I will be able to get some accuracy. So you can set the number of training cycles, which are called the epoch. I'm not sure if you're all familiar or not with machine learning, which it's basically the number of time that the algorithm will loop over your data. And then the learning rate is mostly the speed at which your neural network will learn. If you are more advanced in neural network and in machine learning, you can switch to the expert mode. Oh. And then you can write your own Keras code here. So this one is pretty easy. First, because it's a pre-trained model, so we're just getting the weight. I don't know. Load. Okay, well, I'm going back to the simple mode. Okay. So it's still training. So 12 epochs out of 25. So we're about in the middle. I can take a few questions right now while it's training, if you want, Ali.
Yeah, sure. Let me scroll up to see what was the earliest question. Some people are having some trouble, but I don't think it's things that can be addressed at the moment. Do you have a Discord or something, or a forum where people can ask questions after the fact?
People can go to forum.edgeimpulse.com. I can send you the link right away.
Okay.
Forum.edgeimpulse.com, and yeah, they can. We are. I spend few hours per day on the forum, so I'll probably be one of the one who will be replying. But we have a great team of user success engineers. So whether depending on the time zone, some of my colleagues can also answer.
Okay, great. And for those of you who are having some trouble, just say that you were in the workshop, so it's easier to find on the forum. Okay. As for actual questions, Nathaniel Hurley asks, if I wanted to include other data points into the model with the images, how might I do that when creating the impulse?
Can you repeat the question, please? I'm not sure if you want to add some other data points. You mean
Yeah,
objects?
if some other
Um,
data points into the model with the images, I guess objects, I suppose, how might I do that when creating the impulse?
so let me just maybe I can show you quickly another. So I'm not sure if you're referring to other objects. So for example, if I take, um, I think I've got workshop. Why it's not here? Let me
So Nathaniel
go.
says, say for whatever strange reason I wanted temperature. So I think I have an idea of what
Oh, okay.
Nathaniel's asking.
For
So
example, if it's temperature, let me try to find a project. Not sure I do have temperature here, but for example, if you have accelerometer, let me just get the latest. So Spark Fun Workshop. Last time we used. Let me do the promotion for the previous workshop. We used some accelerometer. So here, for example, you have some time series. So you have here it's rest. That was jumping jacks. So you can ingest different type of data. This is accelerometer. Um, this is pitch commands. So recognizing audio. If, for example, you want to see, this is some noise, but I also have, first of all, the
I
no
think what he's
word.
asking is there a way to ingest images and some other sort of like sensor data
Oh,
and
okay.
create some
You
sort
mean
of
combining the
correlation
two of
between the
them?
two?
Okay. So this is called
Yeah.
sensor fusion. We are working on a way. So you can do that on time series. So you can add, for example, temperature data plus accelerometer data plus maybe a gas sensor, as long as the frequency is the same. But we are working on something called sensor fusion, just to, for example, gather audio plus images. It's not released yet, but it will be available sometime in 2022.
Okay, great.
So I'm going
Yeah,
back
that'll
on my
be really
object
powerful.
detection.
You could be
And
monitoring
so,
a
yeah, go ahead, Ali.
yeah, I'm just thinking of a scenario where you're, I don't know, have a camera looking at a water heater and you have a temperature sensor on the water heater so you can see the temperature going up and then see if there's any type of bulge happening to the water heater.
Yeah, this is
Um,
really useful for many different use cases. We have so many users asking for those use cases. So we are working on it. So here now the model is trained. I've got a precision score of 86.7%. It's not great, but it's not bad either. Let's test that. Oh, something I forgot to say in my data acquisition in this project. So I have done that. So I've got few data here that I kept a part of the training. So here are the training data on the upper right, upper left corner, and I can take some data apart during the training just to make sure the test will be, well, when I will run the inference on those test data, just to make sure my accuracy is good. So I do have on my object detection a 86.7% of accuracy. Now, if I want to test the accuracy on my test dataset, I can just click on classify data and classify all, and it will run the inference, so let's say the prediction, on this test dataset. So here I've got 37 files, just running the inference on them all. And in a few seconds, I will have the output and the results. I think it was something like 78% or 72, which is a bit less. Job complete. So 72. Okay. So it's not great, but I will verify that. Well, considering that we had only 100 data samples to train our model, we can say it's not a completely bad model. If, for example, you want to see why it did not classify it successfully, so sorry again, my internet connection is bad. So it's classifying. Oh, there was probably this one. So here it could not detect the working tray, probably because the operator is hiding most of the working tray. But yeah, so it's a no. This one, it has not been recognized. But if, for example, I want to get another one. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it has troubles loading the images here. So here I've got my working tray, and it can detect it properly. So now that we have seen that our model is all right on the platform, what we will want to do is to just run the inference on the device itself. So I'm going back to my, we haven't shown how to, my camera is connected just here. So if you have an external camera, you can also plug it to easily collect the data without having to extract all the frame, etc. So now we're going to the inference part, which is going to be the prediction. So we have two ways. One way is super easy. It just you just need to use the Edge Impulse CLI. So I'm going back to my Jetson Nano. Let me go back here. Let's say, okay, I'm going to the root. And I'm running this command. So Louis demo, my password, and my project was a bottleneck on conveyor belt. So now we're just grabbing the model from what I've trained. See, if you just want to download the from the studio, or using the CLI. We'll show that straight after. So we're just recompiling a few things. And then what is the CLI command doing? So for that, you need to have a webcam. By the way, it probably won't work plugged on my Jetson Nano. So building, well, it matter. You have the screenshots. So it probably crash here because I don't have any webcam. Impulse cannot find any webcams. But let me just show you what creates a web interface where you can, if you're on the same network, you can just copy paste that, and you will see a web interface directly classifying with the video frame from your camera. It will classify and run the inference. So what time is it? So we have. I better hurry up a bit. So yeah, this is pretty easy, and I wanted to show you as well the advanced way using the Python SDK. Things, for example, such as passing a video input to a script, and then it will classify it. So to do that, you need to install first pip, so Python 3 pip, I already did that. You need few dependencies. Those are audio. I'm just not sure you can install the Linux Python SDK without those libraries. So you just a repository, and then you need to run this pip install at Gimpulse Linux. And now we are going to download our model file, which I already did. It's here. You just need to run the command. So cd, it's here, model file. It's basically as doing it from here. What was it? From the deployment, and you just need to click on deploy Linux. So now that you have your model, you can clone the Linux SDK Python, which is here in my case, cd Linux, and we have a cd examples, images, and we have few scripts. So classify video, it's not well, I just created a merge request on this repo. So the classifying video will be available probably tomorrow in a few days. But at the moment, the classified images.py is available, and we're just going to make sure it works using one frame. So to do that, you can so Python 3 classify image. It will take my model as an entry, so workspace, and then I will just give it one frame. So again, workspace, workshop, that was code sample, extract frame, output, and let's say .jpeg. Okay, so just take one image and classify the working tray, the work tray. It will give you the position on the frame. I don't have a way to show it to you now because I don't have a display connected to the Jetson Nano. I might going to show you that later on my MacBook just to see how it looks like. And so I created another script for you. Let me go back to it. CD workspace example, code sample, and inference. So from here, I'll try to zoom it a bit more again. I've got something called classify video.py, which works exactly the same as the previous one. So you can do Python 3, and you can have a look at as well at the code just below there. Classify video.py. I will pass the model, so workspace model, and then I will pass the video inputs. Workshop, there was dataset and dataset.mp4. So now it's just running, depending on the speed or on the resources. So here at the moment on the Jetson Nano, it's a bit, well, let's say it's a bit long to run the classification and the object detection. So this is what it does look like. If you have a display connected, note that here you OpenCV show image. So I will just quit that and show it to you how it does look like on my laptop. You will see it's faster. I will just zoom in. So classify video. This is the exact same. Repo, and I've got it here. So if I do that, should have opened somewhere. Oh, sorry, yeah, here it is. So what is happening as well in my code is that if I don't see any bounding box for more than 15 iteration, it will just plot an alert on the terminal. And as well on the, I'm not sure if I can zoom it here, probably not. So I think around seconds 90. Oh, so it's a bit too big now. Cannot see anything else. How can I zoom out? Oh, let me put it like that. Around the seconds, yeah, 90 or something. The working tray will just leave, and we won't see anything on the screen. So it will just plot an alert. I'm just waiting 20, 30 more seconds. So here it's leaving. So after 15 iteration, it just plots an alert. Alert, nothing is happening, and then someone can how it works. That was it for the first project. We actually won't have time to see the other one. Note that the public project is here, so let me just show it to you very quickly what it does look like. So it's to prevent injuries. All the data acquisition is here. Again, my internet. So if I I cannot relabel because it's a public project. So it's whether I detected a hat and a vest, and if I have no hats here, no hat, no vest. Maybe I can see it better here. Yeah, so no hat. I don't see it well. But yeah, this is the other project that you can do. We have another 4 minutes for the question. I can stay a bit longer if needed. And one other useful link I put down below was how to detect hard hats as well. It can be useful. I hope you enjoyed this workshop. We saw a complete end-to-end tutorial on how to create your machine learning project using object detection with Edge Impulse. At the moment, it runs on the Jetson Nano, but it's fully compatible with all the Advantech products. This was 020. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them in the next few minutes. Watching. And Ali, if you have any questions for me, feel free.
I forgot again that I was muted. It would help if I unmute myself. Okay, here we go. Cool. So we do have a couple questions. I was helping some people in the chat with some troubleshooting and got some things working, I think. So Mohammed has a question. How would we work with a pre-labeled data set? For example, if the labels are in Pascal, VOC, or YOLO format?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think on the on the link of the blog post, so I actually used a subset. Oh no, that was not for this one, but I used some MS Coco 2017 datasets that I found online. You can just write scripts, and we have just an ingestion format for your bounding boxes. They are available on our documentation. Feel free to ask as well on the forum. I can guide you. I also wrote some Jupyter notebook on Google Colab that I can share so that you can see the structure of it. Just feel free to ask on the forum, and I will point you the link of the Google Colab I used.
Okay, great. Let me see what other questions we have. Aaron JW asked if they can pump 6 RTSP streams and run the inference all on the streams on the Nano. I had answered saying probably it depends on like what inference is being run and the size of each frame. Would there be any other limitations?
No, I don't see any limitation on that at the moment. As long as you can do the both thing at the same time, the inference might run a bit slower because some resources would be attributed to something else. But I won't see why we would not be able to do that.
Okay, sweet. Do you know what FPS the Jetson Nano can top out at?
So I had on this project I had 200 milliseconds, so eight,
So that's
yeah, eight
no,
frame per
4,
second.
5. That's 5 frames per second.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not a lot. Know that with the latest object detection model that we're working on, this should be way faster, as it will be able to run on microcontrollers. Imagine to run it on the Jetson Nano. It's like a day and night.
Okay. Is that new model based still off of TensorFlow Lite or TensorFlow Micro?
No, so we have our own researchers working on it. So yeah,
Ooh,
well, we've
exciting.
used some common techniques, but then we package it
Yeah.
and we researched on top of that. You'll know more later when we announce that.
Okay, great. Got a little sneak peek here for people on the stream. Let me see any other questions. So somebody's getting an error, Mohammed. Just please post that on the forum. Blah blah blah. Let's see, Xavier. Find a comparison. Ooh, okay. HHLJR. I can't pronounce that, so you have the letters. Asks, in general, are color videos more effective than black and white?
I would say you always have more information in color frames. You have 3 times more information than normal, well, than in grayscale. Um, on the Jetson Nano or Linux-based system, I won't say well, I always use RGB because it has the resources to handle the frames. Um, However, when I work on project on image classification on microcontrollers, sometimes just having 3 times more features means like the inference time will be longer. So it's always a trade-off between accuracy, speed, resources that you have on your target. Um, so yeah, I would say it works best with RGB. But again, it might not be ideal for any project.
Yeah. And if you wanted to run 6 streams at once, might be better to make them black and white.
Yeah.
Just to save on that processing power. Okay, let's see if there's one last question because we are a little bit over, but everybody seems pretty engaged. 20 FPS, blah, 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 that would be great. Not sure. I'll scroll up on the chat if anybody has a question for the next 10 seconds while I scroll up to make sure I haven't missed anything. Please post it. If not,
In
we'll
any
be ready
cases, you
to
can
end this
stay in
out.
touch with me on the forum. Spend like a lot of time over there per day. Um, I hope you
Um,
enjoyed this workshop. Thanks a lot, Charlie. Thanks a lot, Ali, and all the team from SparkFun and Advantech. That was great for me. I hope
mhm.
you learned some stuff. And yeah, have a great day and enjoy your day.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank you
Louis,
for
and thanks
watching.
everybody for watching. This was great.
Bye
See ya.
bye. Thanks.